A pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. Welcome to This Week in Baseball with Loro and Ben, our first of many episodes of the 2022 MLB season and our first baseball show since December 1st. And our last show, what happened was we were heading towards a lockout, but now that the lockout's ended, it's time to resume baseball. Ben, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good. Like I said off the air, I'm a little disappointed my laptop's having some issues, but it is what it is. But overall, I'm having a good night. How are you doing?
Doing great. I mean, we're going to have a lot to discuss about what stands out on the new CBA and how we feel about baseball being back after 3 months of greed and also uncertainty. But we want to start with some breaking news as the Los Angeles Dodgers, which happens to be my team, has signed Freddie Freeman to a 6-year deal worth $162 million. And I know, Ben, you wanted him to be a member of the Boston Red Sox because they needed a void at first base. But what is your thoughts on him joining a lineup that features Max Muncy, Justin Turner, Mookie Betts, and Trey Turner, and Will Smith?
Uh, it's hard to take in, to be honest. It's by far the best lineup in baseball. Not denying that. It's scary. It really is. And just the pitching too. It's probably the most complete team. And you had a bat like that. And Freddie Freeman, who is an absolute dynamic player, amazing hitter, great teammate off the field too. So he has a complete package. He was for sure, I think, the big fish out there in the market. And the Dodgers obviously do what Dodgers things do and spend a ton of money, go out and spend a ton. That's the LA market now. Feels kind of complete opposite with the way Boston's been doing in the sports lately. But that's another story for another day. But yeah, I was a little disappointed. Just the John Heyman had a ton of news saying the Red Sox are kind of in it, and I personally didn't think they're the front runners per se. It sounded like that Freddie wanted to go down south, Southern California, where apparently he has some roots down there. So, I wish him the best of luck. The Dodgers obviously have a good team, have a lot of respect for them, even though a ton of people don't, just because of the way that they kind of handle things. But good for them, and we'll see how it goes.
And then today, Chris Bryant signed a 7-year contract with the Colorado Rockies. And Ben, do you think that this means that Colorado's in a win now mode now that they have Chris Bryant?
I don't know. It's just it's interesting, for sure. Um, Chris Bryant, of course, is a very good hitter, and hopefully, not sure what's going on with my. Oh, I'm back. Yeah, I think Chris Bryant is a good hitter, and I just think the fit's very weird. But I guess there's a couple factors into it, and he wanted to go to the Rocky Mountains. He liked that atmosphere. They'll probably hit really well in Coors Field. I just don't know. It's a no trade clause for 7 years. We'll see how that goes.
All right, let's talk about first our reaction to the MLB lockout ending here. It ended after 99 days. And Ben, it was a sigh of relief after that 99th day that the lockout came to an end. And if it didn't end after 99 days, then we would still be in a lockout and more games would be canceled. But what was your overall reaction to that? I was so happy on that day.
Yeah, I mean, it probably was a relief really for every baseball fan, right? Just 99 days of negotiation after negotiation, a lot of false hope of things were getting close, but there was a backup into it, and just a lot of pointing fingers, and it just came to a point of, oh goodness, like, staying late nights and
Speaking
MLBPA
of
having
which, I saw a picture of you pointing your finger to Rob Manfred. If you know what I mean, Ben. I didn't hear. I didn't hear what you said there, Ben.
Well, there's a ton of people that were feeling that way too, for me to be fair. But baseball back, and it's a relief to say the least.
Yes, it is a relief to get baseball back, but I also want to thank.
I just said it's a relief to get baseball back.
Go ahead. What were you saying again? We're dealing with technical difficulties when Ben's in. What were you saying again, Ben? We lost you for a minute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just think it's really good to have baseball back.
It is, but also you have to say that Commissioner Manfred showed a lot of misleadership during this lockout, though.
No, he did. He did. Just it obviously had to come to fruition that something had to happen. I'm glad that the 162 still happened, and obviously the traditional rules are back.
They are. But anyways, now what standouts to me in the new CBA, Ben, is I love the expanded playoffs with 12 teams. I also like that there's going to be more of a balanced schedule in next year's schedule when you have to play interleague teams pretty much every year in the same division, like once a year, and you have to play your counter division 20 times a year.
Yeah, no, it's obviously the breaking news quickly from John Heyman. Freeman had an opportunity to get a bigger deal elsewhere, but decided to go home. So I'm wondering to see who that bigger deal was from, but it doesn't seem like the Dodgers, the team that was the high bidder. So that just comes to show that Freeman was eager to go back home. It just really says a lot. So that just was very fascinating because you really see, the Padres, the Dodgers, the Rays, and the Red Sox. You see all those teams, and it just seemed like, the Dodgers would be the top bidders. But from the Heyman tweet, it sounds like there was another team that was looking for a higher bid, but he decided to go to Southern California. So we'll have to see in terms of who that team could have been. I'll be curious to know. But yeah, going back to what we were talking about, and that's obviously with baseball, the traditional rules and stuff. I think it's good to have the traditional rules back, and no second runner on second base and extra innings. I think that's awesome. So lots of good coming back for this. The only thing that I am going to miss a bit is the 162.
Yeah, I also think that if you look at it, I think that the international draft should be in there, and I think that they're going to agree to that.
Oh yeah, they're going to start having more games, somewhere else for sure.
Yeah, and then the Dodgers get to play the Red Sox now pretty much every other year now.
Yep, so that should be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for when that happens. But anyways, let's get to the fun stuff here and make our divisional picks. Let's start with the National League West. And, this is an easy choice for me. And my pick to win the National League West is the Los Angeles Dodgers. And then in that order, the National League West, I got the San Diego Padres in second place. In third place, the San Francisco Giants, Colorado in fourth, and then the Arizona Diamondbacks in last. What about you, Ben? Who's your pick to win the National League West?
I'm going to say the Dodgers, too. Just obviously the addition of Freeman. Tatis is going to be out for a little while, too. So, I think that the Padres are going to be a little bit behind. I do think the Padres have a bounce-back season. Last year was fairly disappointing on their end. So, and then the Giants are going to be third. The Giants should be a sneaky fun team. They're obviously head-to-head last year with the Dodgers last year in the playoffs. So it could be a three-team race. Then obviously you have the Rockies and Diamondbacks, kind of the two teams behind.
Yeah, but you said you had the Padres in second, even though that they're not going to have Tatis for a while, which I think is a big blow to the Padres. And like what Bob Melvin was saying, that my thoughts on his injury, it's unfortunate, but he shouldn't be riding motorcycles again.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's obviously it's unfortunate to say the least. So
you have San Diego in second and San Fran in third.
Yes, yep.
And then Colorado, Arizona fourth and fifth.
Yep.
And then let's talk about the National League Central. You and I might be different on this pick because that division is very stacked. But the Reds, however, traded away guys like Eugenio Suarez and and Jesse Winker to the Seattle Mariners. And now Tyler Mahle or Luis Castillo might be on the block. But Nick Kroll, the general manager, said that they don't have any intentions to trade Luis Castillo or Tyler Mahle. But it could change. You never know, because I think one of them will be traded to the Dodgers. And my pick to win the National League Central, I'm picking the Milwaukee Brewers. And who's yours, Ben?
I'm going to go with the St. Louis Cardinals. I like the Cardinals. The St. Louis Cardinals is for me.
And why do you pick the St. Louis Cardinals? You and I, this is kind of a different opinion on the National League Central.
Yeah, I like the Cardinals just because they're pitching. They have Flaherty, obviously leading. Goldschmidt, Arenado. The Brewers have a good team. They got a one-two punch in Woodruff and Corbin Burns. And Peralta's actually number 3. I think they're going to be in 2. I think they take a little step back this year.
For me, I have the Brewers in first. In second place, I have the Cardinals. In third, I have the Cincinnati Reds. They're probably not going to be good this year. With them trading away Suarez and Winker, that's kind of a big blow to their ball club. They might lose Castellanos. The Reds are probably heading into a rebuild. The fourth place team, the Chicago Cubs, could they be better than the Reds? I could see that. But the Pirates are the Pirates. They're in last.
Yep, I would agree.
So what was your thoughts on the Reds trading away Eugenio Suarez and Jesse Winker to Seattle?
Yeah, this comes to show they're in a total rebuild. I think that Joey Votto should go somewhere, but I think he's just too committed to playing Cincy. He's so loyal there that I just think that they lose a ton of ticket sales, even as it's been. But you take away Joey Votto, I mean, essentially nothing. It's obviously disappointing because this team had a lot of promise a couple years ago. Even a year or two, they had a lot of fun promise, but they're rebuilding. I think Castillo and Mahle should get some offers, but it sounds like you're going to stay. So, the Reds are going to have some pieces, but, you move on from Winker, who was just a home run machine for a while. You got Suarez, who had a disappointing year last year, but he's a decent bat, a good thumper, and probably should help out the Mariners here this season. So, yeah, it's obviously I think the Reds are going to be kind of in the middle. They're going to be kind of where they were in the past. So.
Yeah, but I think that now the Centrals is tough, but also wanted to point out here that Jock Peterson's a giant, and I think that I think he's going to be great there.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I really do.
And now to the NL East. So basically, this division is still one of the toughest divisions in baseball, one of the deepest still. But my pick to win the National League East, this team went for it prior to the lockout and post-lockout. They've made some great moves, acquiring Chris Bassett to help with the starting staff, along with Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom. You got Pete Alonso in that dangerous Mets lineup, and I'm picking the New York Mets to win the National League East.
I'm going to go with the Atlanta Braves. They just won the World Series last year. Even with the loss of Freeman, you still have Acuna Jr., you brought back Eddie Rosario. You still have Soler right now. He could be
Soler. I don't
know if you heard me.
Soler might he could stay with the Braves, but the Dodgers were pursuing Jorge Soler. But adding,
no, you guys don't need any more. You guys are done.
Yeah, but you think the Braves are, because you still have Max Fried, you got Soroka coming back if he could stay healthy. You got Charlie Morton, that's really good, and the reason why you're still picking Atlanta over the Mets or the Phillies is because you think that Atlanta still can get it done without Freddie, even though that it's going to be hard for them.
Yeah, no, I think that they still are the favorites. I mean, the way I look at it is the Mets are on paper a great staff, but it's all about health with them. In the past, they've always had health problems with their staff and just in general. So I'm gonna go Braves. I still think the Braves are really the team, and then the Mets. The Phillies are going to come in third. Marlins and who am I missing?
You got the Nationals too, the Washington
The
Nationals,
Nationals.
who are
Nationals, I think we're gonna be decent. They're probably gonna actually the Phillies are probably gonna be in fourth.
well. The thing is, the Phillies just got Kyle Schwarber, and Kyle Schwarber is gonna his bat fits Citizens Bank Park, and that is a good ballpark to hit in. And the Nationals just got Nelson Cruz, who I think is going to help immensely with that lineup. He and Juan Soto are going to be a good 1-2 punch in the middle of the order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then for the Marlins, they need time to rebuild, but they did get some good pieces prior to the lockout.
Mm-hmm.
So I have in my order, I have I have the Mets in first, then I have the Phillies in second, Atlanta in third, and then in fourth I got the Washington Nationals, and in fifth the Miami Marlins.
Nice.
So I have the Phillies as one of my wild card teams, which we'll get to in just a minute here. And now let's go switch to the American League and who's going to be winning these three divisions. Let's start with the American League West. I mean, this division is going to be good. I'll tell you that. But do I want to pick the Houston Astros to win that division? No, because I hated that sign stealing scandal that cheated when they cheated their way to the World Series, to a World Series victory over the Dodgers. And that is something that Dodger fans will remember forever. And I'm actually going to go out on a limb with this pick. I'm picking Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim to win the American League West. That's how I feel about the Astros.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like him either, but I mean, just on paper in that division, they're still the team to beat. I personally think Correa is going to remain an Astro. So, I mean, their lineup's still going to be very lethal. Verlander's coming back. They got pieces there. Dusty Baker, it sounds like he's back. And they were just in the World Series this past year, too. So, I'm going to go with them. I still really like their lineup. Altuve, Tucker, Gurriel. A lot of Bregman could have a huge year again. So, I'm probably going to go with them. And then the next team I'm going to go with is possibly the Texas Rangers.
Oh my gosh, from worst to first. Man, like what the Rangers did this offseason was they got Marcus Semien, they got Corey Seager, they got John Gray. I feel like that they need a little bit more pieces, and then they're going to be good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think the Rangers, Texas Rangers are going to have probably going to be in second or third, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard to kind of change things around for sure, because obviously they've kind of been in the on the bottom for a long period of time. So
I think they're ready to go. And then I have in second place behind the Angels, I have the Astros in second place. I have the Angels and Astros both having winning records. In third place, I'm putting the Seattle Mariners ahead of the Rangers because they went for it with Winker and Suarez, and that lineup's going to be lethal. They got Robbie Ray. This team is definitely going to be in the mix to compete for a playoffs, and it would feel so good to see postseason baseball back in the Pacific Northwest for the first time in decades. And you know how those fans in Seattle are dying for postseason baseball in Seattle.
Yeah, you know what? After thinking about it, I think the Mariners are probably going to be in second for me. I think Texas still maybe a year away because they're pitching. So I think it's going to be Astros, the Mariners, the Rangers, the Angels, because I still have worries about their pitching. I still do. And
well, look at what the Angels did this offseason. They kept Graciel Iglesias. They signed Noah Syndergaard. And what's left for the Angels?
Right. Yeah, their talent is so good offensively. It's just they never can find consistent good starting pitching. So yeah,
and then in last place I have Oakland in last, and they're going to be they traded away pretty much everybody. Now they're in talks to trading Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea.
Yeah, no, they're going full fire sale. They're like the AL version of the Reds. And obviously Isaiah hasn't been too thrilled lately with these moves, but we'll see in terms of what direction they really go. You know, they move on from Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, uh, which, by the way, I mean, you look at probably the two lineups that scare me the most: the Dodgers lineup and the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays lineup could even top the Dodgers in a way because just how lethal those bats are. I mean, Matt Chapman might not be a great bat per se, but just to have that fit in the lineup, I mean, my goodness. I mean, good luck.
Good luck facing the Blue Jays in your division. We're going to be talking about your Red Sox in just a minute here. I mean, I know you have a lot to say about them heading into this upcoming season, which I know this Red Sox team is going to be very good, very competitive. With Alex Cora in his second year back as a manager for the Red Sox, I think he's pretty much the best fit out of the managers that you've had, which we'll talk about in just a little bit here. But now to the American League Central. And my pick to win the American League Central, this is going to be close between the Chicago White Sox and the Detroit Tigers, but I'm picking the Chicago White Sox. They're the better team. They've got better. They just got Joe Kelly to help with that bullpen. Now they just need to trade Craig Kimbrell, and then Craig Kimbrell doesn't have to worry about being an eighth inning guy. Craig Kimbrell's more of a closer.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the White Sox too. I really like the rotation. Just still Giolito, Don left, but they still got a lot of good pieces there. Jose Abreu is still there offensively. Tim Anderson. So, and obviously their back end rotation, their bullpen is my favorite part with Kelly, Hendricks, and Kimbrell. So, I'm not sure if they still have Ryan Tepera, but he was a very underrated
Still
move for
do.
them.
They still have Ryan Tepera.
Yeah, so I've always liked Tepera too. So they've had a lot of good players with their team. Tony Russo had a good year this past year with the White Sox. Even though they got bounced first round to Houston, a lot of good promise there with that team. And then you go to the Tigers. I think the Tigers are going to be probably in third. Cleveland, I think, is actually not going to be too bad. I think this year because of their
The
pitching.
good point for that is that your old manager Tito Francona is still with the Guardians.
Yeah, no, and I like their rotation still. You got Shane Bieber, you got Zach Plesac, you got Tristan McKenzie, and it looks like there was a rumor out there today which would have just made me just go absolutely insane, from a bad way. Because obviously there are a lot of bad things happening in sports. Regarding myself, but Jose Ramirez was in preliminary talks possibly of going to the Blue Jays and having him play second base.
Oh
And that
my
just would have
God!
drove me up the wall because you already see how lethal that lineup is. You put a switch-handed bat at like number two, along with Vladdy Jr., Oscar Hernandez, Bo Bichette, Matt Chapman, and you put in Jose Ramirez there. I mean, arguably the best hitter the Guardians have had in like the last several years outside of Lindor when he left. I mean, you got to be kidding me. I mean, this is like, and thankfully it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Sounds like that the Guardians see this Ramirez guy as a cornerstone for the future, which I think is very fair. He's a great player. I think the Red Sox might have interest down the road with him. I've always liked him, but that's another story for another day. But I think that the Guardians are probably number two. Probably the White Sox, then the Guardians. I don't know. Correa's obviously a huge situation. If he goes to Detroit, which I don't know where Correa's now going to go. I think he's obviously the next big fish. So that's going to be on the market. That's what I'm not losing out hope for the Red Sox because, I think Con Bloom said they want a right-handed bat as much as even I wanted Freeman, which I'm a little disappointed, but, I can understand why that they didn't get him. But I think Trevor Story could be a very viable fit for the Red Sox. And, I'll talk more about the Red Sox moving forward. But all I got to say is that Correa is in Detroit. That could be interesting in terms of that division, how that shapes up. But as of right now, without him, probably going to go White Sox. Then the Guardians. Twins. Can't forget about the Twins.
Yeah, the Twins, they just traded Josh Donaldson. We're going to have to talk about him and Connor Falefa to the New York Yankees in just a minute here.
Yeah, no, the Twins have made some interesting moves for sure. So they're probably gonna be in like third per se. So
For me, I have the White Sox in first. I have the Detroit Tigers in second. I think AJ Hinch is ready to continue to rebuild the Detroit Tigers. I think Cleveland will be in third. In fourth, the Kansas City Royals. And the Twins are probably in last place. I think they're pretty much trading away everybody. But if you look at the Royals, this team's not far away from competing.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. The Royals are also interested in Montes too. So they added Amir Garrett today for I think Mike Minor, which is kind
Yeah,
of
they did.
interesting. But
And
um,
they have Whit Merrifield, Andrew Benintendi, Salvi Perez. They have the lineup to be good, but I think what they
that's who
need
the
is
Red Sox have always had interest in is Whit Merrifield, a good guy. Like I've always had problems with the leadoff hitter, and I actually I liked Schwarber at the playoffs at least last year. He was just crushing it at the leadoff hole. I mean, Kike Hernandez was absolutely a postseason god at the leadoff last year in the playoffs. The guy was absolutely just mashing everything, which is fun to watch. It'll be hard to see. It'll be really fun to see Kike again next year. I really like Kike a lot.
yeah.
Um,
You have two of my former favorite Dodgers in Kike, Alex Verdugo, Jeter Downs. We'll have to talk about those guys in a minute here, but
yep.
I do think that that's gonna. But shifting from the Central to the American League East, my pick to win the American Eastman, you might not like this. I'm picking the Toronto Blue Jays.
I mean, I can respect it, man. They're obviously very loaded right now. Manoa and Ryu. They also had a Kikuchi. Uh, bullpen is
And
going
Gosman, too. Kevin Gosman is a great addition to the Toronto Blue Jays pitching staff.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun, right? I personally think it's gonna be Tampa. I still think that Tampa is probably gonna be my number one. As annoying as they are, they just always seem to find a way to get things done. And Wander Franco is obviously a huge reason why. I'm not saying that their lineup is better. I think that the Blue Jays have a great fun lineup. But man, I mean, you talk about the NL West having a fun year.
Yeah, with the
The
Dodgers, the Giants, and the Padres.
East is going to be an absolute bloodbath, and I just think
Oh my
that's what worries.
gosh.
What just worries me right now is because our pitching. I mean, Chris Sale going to be out for relatively maybe a month or two now, which is absolutely lovely. That's part of the reason why I had a kind of a crappy morning was just hearing that news. I was excited to see Chris Sale go back. I'm not saying go back to radio Chris Sale because he's just had problems right now lately with his injuries, but um, and my dad was telling me, he's obviously worried that this could be a busted long-term contract, which obviously, as of right now, it hasn't been great. I love Chris Sale. I always have been, but they just every single year there seems to be something with the guy.
Just got to stay healthy, though.
Just gotta stay healthy, yeah. And they had Erod last year. They moved on from him. I thought that was kind of a tough loss because at least you had Evaldi and you had Erod and you had Pavetta as your three. Now you have Evaldi as your one. You have Pavetta as your two, and you have Tanner Houck, who could have been your long-term guy in the bullpen, who now has to come in and slide to three, which I think personally Houck definitely has what it takes to extend. The guy's absolute crazy stuff. It's always worries me too about Houck though. When it gets to the third time in the order, his stuff starts to kind of die out a bit. And also, hopefully, Houck also can develop a really good third pitch because he has a great fastball, a really wicked slider, probably my favorite slider out there on the Red Sox. But he just gets into a little bit of issues in third time, which hopefully he'll move on from. And then you have Michael Waka, who I just think it's a flyer piece. And you have Rich Hill, who's for sure a flyer piece. So you have two.
Rich Hill has a nasty curveball. When he was with my Dodgers, oh my God, that curveball was nasty.
Yeah, so I mean, you essentially kind of had two flyer pieces at the back end. I still think the Red Sox could still maybe get an arm for starter. I would kind of like it to see if there's any type of upgrade, just because you don't know how long Sale's going to be out. I mean, it's going to be hard to kind of replace in terms of his his stuff for sure. But you kind of have to get the pieces together. I still have worries about the pen. So it's a lot of last year, right? And the Red Sox last year were fortunate the first half of the season to kind of go on this crazy magical run, and the second half really didn't seem like things were going our way. We were in first place for a while, and we got out of first place. The Yankees took over first place, I think. I'm not sure if it was that. But then things kind of went into back and forth. The Rays, they came in. Obviously, we didn't win the American League East, but we did make it to the ALCS, which, I mean, not as a cop-out excuse, but nobody expected our team last year to make it to the ALCS in terms of the way things are going, in terms of rebuild. I guess you could say our rebuild under Heim. But I'm excited, and obviously I've kind of gone a bit of a tangent here, but I definitely can respect your Blue Jays take. They're a great team. Their lineup is probably the most feared lineup, as I can see probably right now in baseball. I'm not saying in baseball. Well, one of the most feared in baseball. But in terms of that division, the AL East, right now it is. The Yankees are obviously still up there. I thought if they got Freeman or Correa, they could still maybe even get Correa, which would even scare me. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like that they're kind of – if they didn't get Freeman – probably they're probably done trying to get a big fish. I would be shocked if they got Correa in a way at this point. But obviously with the Yankees, never say never on things. I would say with the Red Sox right now, I think we're
No, in my order, I have Toronto in first, Tampa Bay in second, Boston in third, the Yankees in fourth, and the Baltimore Orioles looking up. But I think Baltimore is going to be in the category of 100 losses.
Yeah, I saw that report today. I don't know if you saw it from Correa about the Orioles in terms of their.
I'm like, why would he even go there? That team is a joke.
As much as I don't like the Astros, if he went to the Orioles, I mean, it would be a fun story there. But I think Correa is such a competitor that you want to. The only reason why he'd go there is because of the money. I mean, you saw what in this report from John Heyman. If this report is true, that he went to a team in the Dodgers, and obviously he went there for home, but he took an offer that's actually less in terms of what the original offer was. If it was by the Red Sox, by the way, Loro, I'm gonna be pretty upset. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't go to Baltimore. I mean, they have some good players like Trey Mancini. They have Ryan Mountcastle is a good hitter. John Means is good. But I feel like that one of these pieces are going to get traded at the trade deadline, but I wouldn't trade Trey Mancini if I were the Orioles.
Yeah, the Orioles are a really fun team. They're obviously getting much better. I saw them last year at Fenway. They have a couple of pieces, Santander. I'm a huge Cedric Mullins fan. Always will. Always be stand Cedric Mullins. I think the guy is super underrated just because he plays for a crappy team. The guy's a ton of talent, ton of ability. And love me some Cedric Mullins. That's all I can say. I mean, definitely draft him for fantasy baseball on a couple of teams this year. And he made the All-Star team last year, which I was very happy for. But yeah, the Orioles just really don't have a lot going for them. My order right now is Tampa Bay is going to be 1. I'm going to go.
You mean number 2 would be Toronto or something?
Toronto, yeah. I think that the Yankees really took a step back in terms of, their rotation's good.
You can't rely on Garrett Cole every 5th day to stop a losing streak.
It's just that every other team got much better. The Rays are kind of just still that Rays team, the pesky team. The Blue Jays obviously got much better. The Yankees, I think, are just kind of like last year. I think they're going to ride it out. Got Stanton, got Judge. So obviously you got some pieces there. You got Gallo. You have Cole. You have Severino, which is going to be back. They're going to have a great team. They're probably going to be a little bit better than our Red Sox just because I still don't like our back end of rotation. But this Red Sox team, I think will compete. I think Core always has these guys ready, which I love about him. I'm going to have them in 4th, Loro, but like I said last year, hope they prove me wrong. And obviously, I don't want to have the same old, because I think that if we get a big-time fish, which I still think that Correa could be out there, which, by the way, the Dodgers, I know for sure, can't get another big fish because they just got one. So I can at least know that the Red Sox, in terms of their bidding competition, hopefully, if they are with any other team, they could be able to get an offer. But, Chaim Bloom is in his rules. It sounds like he's very in terms of the team he has. I personally think that he
Yeah,
loves to
with
want
Chaim
to keep
Bloom,
Xander
what you're
Bogaerts for
saying about
longer.
Chaim Bloom is he's kind of like Andrew Friedman in a way. He's kind of following the Andrew Friedman method. Like if you have too much on your payroll, he shreds it.
Yeah, no, Chaim, I think for sure is really he's trying. He obviously gets a lot of criticism, and that's obviously Boston media for you in terms of go out, go spin and stuff. But they're kind of going the Patriots method, I think, in a way right now. But it's been kind of the just staying quiet, seeing any type of flyers out there. I think Corey Soler would be a fun addition. I know that the Red Sox have some interest in him, but they still need a little more. So I think the Rays, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Orioles.
Talk about the Red Sox roster for a moment before we make our wild card picks here. Kike Hernandez, I think, is going to have a great year. I have no doubt about that. Coming from a Dodger fan myself, he's been a great addition to this Boston Red Sox team with his presence in the clubhouse, the way he plays defense, and the way he hits the ball. He's a guy that can hit 20 home runs. I think that the reason why I think the Red Sox are saving their money, they want to pay Rafi Devers and Xander Bogaerts. Those two are my favorites on the Red Sox. Alex Verdugo had a great year last year. I expect kind of the same from Alex Verdugo to have a great year, to produce a guy that's in the top of your order. JD Martinez is a guy that is great in the middle of the order. And I think that the Red Sox offense, if you look at it, is not really the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Red Sox are not going to have problems scoring runs this year. At least I hope not. If you have a healthy Rafael Devers, you have a healthy Xander Bogaerts, JD Martinez, I think will be JD Martinez. Obviously with his video back and stuff, he can review terms of swing because when he does that, he does pretty well. Kike should be a lot of fun in the top half of the order. Verdugo, I think you keep at 2. Just to Energizer Bunny, which we always love in Boston, for sure. So I do think though that this Red Sox team can make one move. It's out of that second base, and I think that you could add Trevor Story to play second base. I think you'd be open to that decision, and then you have something going. Because I think if Trevor Story could play second, Xander could play short. Because eventually, Xander only has 2 more years really left on his contract. I hope that they can extend him, but they have somebody coming up in their future. And another thing at first base too, Loro, is I think part of the reason why they didn't really want to go with Freeman's sweepstakes is Casas. Tristan Casas is going to be an absolute star as of right now down AAA. The guy has a lot of potential, and hopefully soon we can move on from Bobby Dahlbeck and get some prospects maybe for him and kind of see what this future of this team looks like.
Bobby Dahlbeck has power. I'll tell you that. He does have big time power and all that. But are you saying that Tristan Costas is probably going to be better than Dahlbeck?
I do, yeah. I just think that Costas is just, he obviously played for USA World Baseball Classic. He obviously has a ton of talent, ton of upside. He just has to prove it in the major league level. Obviously you've seen a bunch of guys, minor leagues that do great. Major League Baseball is another different story. Pitchers are obviously a lot faster. Just everything just speeds up, to say the least. And when you get to league by league, so the way I see it is, I really think that Story's still out there for the Red Sox. I think that the Red Sox, regardless if they get him or not, just they need an extra bat, whether it's a Soler type, and then maybe get another pen because right now, this Red Sox team probably is an 80-win team max. Just because
when you guys got Jake Diekman might be your closer, but he probably will be a kind of a middle reliever.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a lot of last year. Matt Barnes is back. Selwyn Murrah is back. He was okay. He had his stretches where he was decent. Ottavino left. Wasn't a huge fan of Ottavino. He had his great times here and there, but the Mets can take him. So I really love Garrett Whitlock though. Garrett Whitlock's a favorite of mine. He always seems very consistent and does a lot of things great. So they had some talks about him maybe becoming a starter, like kind of spot starter. It should be kind of cool. Rather have that, maybe kind of go the race all the way, kind of these are 4 or 5, and have Whitlock maybe start some spot games. Um, I'm not sure really our minor league staff in terms of our starting staff. I know Cutter Crawford pitched a couple games. He's not ready, I don't think. But Howard for sure, I think, is the name that I think a lot of Red Sox fans, including myself, are very excited about because he's proven over time. The guy has probably the very electric stuff. Pavetta hasn't been bad. I think he's really kind of improved over time. But you take away Kruse, especially if he was Eduardo Rodriguez, who, by the way, had a very up and down year last year. But for sure that Eduardo Rodriguez can relatively pitch a good amount of the time, unless he does flare up his knee here and there, which he does. But the Tigers have a really fun staff at the E-Rod. It should be fun. So we'll
Yep.
see how things go. But the Red Sox definitely are an 80-win team. So
let's talk about now who's going to be in each our wild card teams for both the National and American League team. They're now up to 3 teams now because of the new playoff format. And my wild card picks for the National League are my first one goes to the Philadelphia Phillies as the 5 seed. And then I got now with this new format of expanded playoffs, I got Philadelphia and Atlanta as 1-2. And I have the Phillies, the Padres, and the Braves. And then in the American League, 4, 5, and 6 would be the Rays, the Red Sox, and the Yankees. So it's a total of 12, Ben.
I mean, I haven't really myself into knowing kind of who's going to be where. But what I do know,
Losing Ben in a minute here, so when he gets back, we'll ask him that again. So sorry again for technical difficulties. Go ahead. What you're saying, Ben?
oh, sorry, thank you. I was gonna say I haven't really made my playoff matchups. What I do know is I have a good feeling in terms of who's going to be in which side for each team. So I think that in the National League, the teams that are going to be making the playoffs are the Mets. I think the Mets are going to make the playoffs this year. I think
there's 12 total, but there's 3 wild card spots, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, I think the Mets will make the wild card. I think the Brewers,
total of 12.
Okay, I think the Brewers will make the playoffs. They made the wild card. I think probably the Giants. I think the Giants could be back in there. And the Padres. Well, actually, no, not the Padres. I think the Giants will be able to take that 2 seed away from the Padres.
All right. Anyways, and what about in the American League, Ben?
American League, I'm going to go with the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays will make the playoffs. As one of the wildcard teams as it stands right now, I think that they take over both the Yankees and Red Sox kind of roster right now at this point. I'm going to go Seattle. And I'm going to go with probably the White Sox. The White Sox will be in there. Indians,
the White Sox winning the division.
Yeah, I'm going to go Indians.
Oh, it's the Guardians now, not the Indians.
I'm going to have to get used to that. And if the Red Sox do make it, I'm going to have them in there too.
Anyways, we'll save our LCS and World Series picks and all that before the season. We'll make our predictions on who's going to be going to the Fall Classic the day before the baseball season. Let's get to our award predictions. So let's start with the National League Rookie of the Year. I like to start recognizing some rookies here. So I'm picking this guy. I mean, former Dodger farmhand, now a member of the Washington Nationals. This kid has such a bright future. And my pick for National League Rookie of the Year is Josiah Gray.
I would probably go with him too. He has a good future. And, obviously getting younger for a team that's kind of in a rebuilding type phase is always helpful. So, Gray should be a really fun pitcher.
Yeah, he should be. I mean, he gets to learn from the best like Joe Ross and Steven Strasburg and Patrick Corbin. If Strasburg could stay healthy, then the Nationals are a good baseball team.
For sure.
So for American League Rookie of the Year, this guy didn't even play much last year. But my pick for American League Rookie of the Year, he's gonna have a breakout season. I have no doubt about that. I'm picking Alek Manoah.
Oof. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good choices, to be honest here.
Yeah, good rookie class. I mean, you could pick Jared Kelenic. You could pick
Kelenic. I think
Jared Kelenic of the Mariners.
Yeah, Kelenic could be a really fun player that could just – he didn't have a great average last year, but I think that he could be a lot of fun this year.
Absolutely. He will be. And now let's talk about who will be our National League Managers of the Year. For me, I'm picking my choice is for the National League side, I'm picking Dave Roberts of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think he has won one already in his career. I could see him winning another.
For me, what do you say, national? What is it?
National League. It's National League Manager of the Year.
I'm gonna go with Buck Showalter.
Ooh, man. Been in the American. He was a lifelong. He's been a lifer in the American League.
Yeah, I think that he is really going to kind of change the philosophy of the New York Mets. As just a coach that's been around the league, and this might not be a great prediction, but I'm going to take the risk on this one.
Good to take the risk on that. That's for sure. But anyways, now on to the American League here, Manager of the Year. This guy, I'll tell you what. Since getting rehired by the Boston Red Sox after the 2020 season following his suspension from the sign-stealing scandal, he won one World Series ring with the Red Sox, and he already has a good philosophy and a good culture with the Boston Red Sox. I'm picking your boy, who used to be a former Dodger, former teammate of Dave Roberts, Alex Cora.
For me, I'm going to go with this could be an interesting one too. AJ Hinch from the Tigers.
Ooh, he won a Manager of the Year in Houston, but he could do it in Detroit.
Yeah, I think the Tigers may not have a great year, but I think that Hinch definitely could be in the running this year for it. So I'm going to go with him.
And then our NL Cy Young pick. My pick for National League Cy Young Award, he's going to win his first. I'm picking Walker Buehler from my Los Angeles Dodgers.
I think Max Scherzer is going to have a huge year this year, so I'm going to go with Max Scherzer.
He's a Cy Young king. You don't also rule out Jacob deGrom if he's healthy.
Oh yeah.
And Chris Bassett, who is now part of the New York Mets rotation. My pick for American League Cy Young. There's a lot of really good choices for American League Cy Young Award. My pick for that is Garrett Cole of the New York Yankees.
My AL Cy Young Award is going to go to Shohei Ohtani.
He won AL MVP last year, but he fell short of a Cy Young last year.
I think he's going to get a Cy Young this year. I think he's that good.
Yeah, he is such a unique player, like we talked about earlier. And the reason why I had the Angels winning the division is because Trout, Rendon, Ohtani can get it done in the lineup. Ohtani can get it done pitching, but you can't rely on one guy, though. Syndergaard's a good piece, but I think that the Angels could use more than a Syndergaard and then a Shohei in the rotation. Because those two are right now your best starters. My pick for National League MVP, I know you might like this pick or you might not like it. You traded him to my LA Dodgers prior to the 2020 season, and he won American League MVP when he was with your Red Sox in 2018. So my pick for National League Most Valuable Player, Mookie Betts.
For NL
MVP.
I'm going to go with Freddie Freeman. I think that Freddie's in a huge year in LA for his first year, and I think he's just going to put up monster numbers.
My prediction for American League MVP, it's between four guys. Shohei, Mike Trout, Vladdy Jr., and I'm also going to throw in Wander Franco of the Tampa Bay Rays, but I feel like that this award should be named after him every year as long as he stays healthy. And I can't wait to see him have a nice bounce back, healthy season. And when he's healthy, he can win multiple MVP awards, and that's Mike Trout.
My AL MVP.
Because Shohei won it last year for the American League, and I'm picking Mike Trout this year. I'm picking teams from both the Dodgers and the Angels winning the MVP awards.
I'm going to go Vladdy. I think Vladdy's going to win.
Oh, that's a good choice. I wouldn't mind him either. I mean, Vladdy Jr.
I'm a huge Vladdy guy, but it sucks he always has to face us like countless amount of times in their division. It's a fun division, but it's so hard.
It is so hard here, but anyways, let's talk about what the lineups and rotations will look like for both the Dodgers and the Red Sox here. So my rotation for the Dodgers is I have it being what you would call this. You might like this, but my rotation is Buehler, Kershaw, Castillo, who I think we're going to get from the Reds, Julio Urias, and then if healthy, Dustin May.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good staff. Say Buehler, Buehler 1, Kershaw 2. Urias, I'm going to go 3. I really like Urias' stuff, so I'm going to have him actually up in the order. May is a 4. Gonsolin. I think Gonsolin will be in. I don't think that you guys will get Castillo, but I do like your thinking.
Yeah, the reason why I say that is because I think the Dodgers need to trade Gavin Lux now that they have Freddie Freeman. I want him to have an opportunity to play every day. I think that he's a good player, but he just hasn't worked out for us so far.
No, Gavin Lux is a very good player. I think just maybe change of scenery might help.
Yeah, a change of scenery might help, and my lineup for the Dodgers looks like this. I mean, I have a couple of players that I think will get, aside from Freeman, get via trade. It's Betts, number 1. Number 2, Cody Bellinger. Number 3, Trey Turner. I have Freddie Freeman hitting 4th. In my projected lineup, I have Justin Turner hitting 5th as the DH. Max Muncy hitting 6th. Playing second base, I have Will Smith hitting 7th and doing the catching. I like Pollock, but he's just too injury prone. So I'll have to tell you who my starting left fielder will be. I have the Dodgers also acquiring Mike Moustakas. I have him hitting 8th and playing third base. And batting 9th and playing left field, Chris Taylor.
Interesting.
I have it that way before you go on, I have it that way because for me, I think I just think that I like Pollock, but he just can't stay healthy. That's why I have Chris Taylor starting in left field over Pollock. And with the universal DH, he could DH at times.
I'm going to go with mine. Lean off Trey Turner. I would really like him in that leadoff hole. You're gonna probably have a little disagreements on this one, but I'm gonna go on a limb. So I'm gonna go Max Muncy hitting 2. I'm gonna go with number 3, Mookie Betts. Number 4, Freddie Freeman. Number 5, Chris Taylor. I actually like Chris Taylor a little more.
Man, Chris Taylor hitting 5th? I mean, that's more of Justin Turner's spot in my opinion, just because I think that I think that if you look at it, I think that Chris Taylor is a guy that can hit ninth. You get on base, he could steal you some bases in the ninth spot.
Yep. No, I'm going with a little of a wild card lineup here. So I have Turner, Muncy. That's I feel we're not saying Corey Seager. Corey Seager really in that lineup. Just it always screams Dodger when you have Corey Seager in that lineup. So it's gonna be we're not seeing Corey Seager. Um, so you have Muncy at 2. Then you have Betts. Then Bellinger. What about Bellinger?
Yeah, I have Cody hitting second in mine.
Bellinger hitting 2. Interesting. I'm gonna have Cody hitting more last. I think he started find something. I'm gonna have Taylor. Actually, Turner.
Yeah, you could go in all certain ways because that's how Dave Roberts likes to. He likes to mix up his lineups and all that.
How loaded they are. They can go different ways. So I'm gonna go. I got this now. Let's see. Turner number 1.
Not Justin Trey.
Batting second for your Los Angeles Dodgers. Max Muncy. Batting third for your Los Angeles Dodgers. Mookie Betts. Batting fourth and clean up your new Dodger, number 5, Freddie Freeman. Batting sixth for your Los Angeles Dodgers, Justin Turner. Batting 6th for your Los Angeles Dodgers, Chris Taylor. Batting 7th for your Los Angeles Dodgers, Cody Bellinger. Batting 8th for your Los Angeles Dodgers, Will Smith. And rounding out, actually, no pitcher's going to be hitting, right?
No pitcher. It's DH now for all leagues.
DH. Oof. Whoever plays DH will bat 9th.
Yeah, I think that could go that way. But for your Red Sox, I have you might like this rotation that I have. I have your number 1 starter, if healthy, is Chris Sale. Your number 2 is Nathan Eovaldi. Number 3, Rich Hill, who I loved on the Dodgers. And then your number 4 starter will be your number 4 starter with me. I'm looking at right now, Tanner Houck. And then your 5th starter will be, I have Tanner Houck as the 5th starter. And then I have Michael Wacha 4th. So basically, again, it's Sale, Eovaldi, Hill, Wacha, and Tanner Houck.
Yeah, as of right now, I still think that the Patriots, the Red Sox can add another starter. I really do. But as of right now, I'm gonna go with Sale, Eovaldi, Pavetta. I don't know if you remember Pavetta, so I'm gonna have
Pavetta. Nick Pavetta is good too.
I'm gonna have Pavetta as my number 3. Also, James Paxton when he comes back. So.
I don't want to forget about James Paxton. So basically, I basically have Eovaldi number 1, Sale number 2, and then number 3 would be number 3 would be Rich Hill, and then number 4 would be.
I think I got mine now. I think you have Eovaldi 1, Sale 2. I think Sale right now at this kind of point in his time, his career is a 2. Even though he has ace stuff, I just with him, I really like Eovaldi right now, just in terms of his health right now over Sale. So Sale 2, he's like a 1A, 1B type. Can't go wrong with either.
Eovaldi 1, Sale 2 for me, and then 3.
Houck for me, Pavetta 4, and then you can go roundabout your 5, Hill, Wacha, or Paxton.
Yeah, I'm actually, in my opinion, I'm going Eovaldi, Sale, Hill, and then I have James Paxton in there, and then I have Wacha in that order.
Yeah, definitely.
And then for your lineup, you might like this. I have leading off and playing second base is Kike Hernandez.
I'm going outfield, Kike. Roy's going to start at second, unless we get Story. But you can play Kike at second. I wouldn't be against it.
The reason why I say that because I have Jackie Bradley in your projected lineup to be in the lineup every day. That's what you brought him back for.
True. No, you have a point. No, I'll go with you. I'll agree with you. Even though
He
JBJ,
he's not
uh,
hitting second. I'll tell you that. So I
no,
have
JBJ
Kike
is
leading
not.
off and playing second base, batting second and playing right field is Alex Verdugo.
Actually, wait. Who you putting left then?
In left, I have I
I see him
actually
more.
have
I see him
no,
more.
I have
So I've Verdugo on left. That's where he played a lot last year.
no, I put Verdugo in right because in left I have I think you could see Jaron Duran play left field.
I don't like that. I think Duran's more of a center field. I think that's going to be time. That's why I think that the Red Sox are probably going to get Soler. I think that Soler could be a really fun piece. You put him in the right field. You have Kike in center, and then kind of replacement for Renfro. Uh, no, you're right.
Yes.
JBJ in center, Kike at second.
And
Then
Verdugo
what
in
do you
right.
put? No, I want to. I mean, Doogie could play right, but I'd rather want him either at left or center. He could play center, but not very well. As I saw in person, that was a disaster. But
Verdugo could play any outfield position. So I have Kike leading off, then I have Verdugo hitting second and playing left field instead of right. I have somebody else playing right field. I think it's going to be coming via free agency. Hitting third is Xander Bogaerts.
yep, Bogey.
And then hitting fourth is your third baseman, and he's one of my favorites on the Boston Red Sox, is Rafael Devers.
Devers for sure. Yep.
And hitting fifth, that five spot's more of a run producer type role here. And it is J.D. Martinez.
Jumbo down.
Hitting sixth is I'm not putting JBJ up there. I'm putting someone else up there. Hitting sixth is your first baseman, Bobby Dalbec.
Okay. Hopefully it's somebody else, but
actually, I changed my mind. I have hitting sixth and playing left field is Jorge, in playing right field is Jorge Soler.
now we're talking. Yeah, I like that.
In hitting behind JD Martinez. And hitting seventh is your catcher, Christian Vasquez.
Vasquez.
And hitting eighth in playing
or we have Wechtog, Poleckiata back there too.
Hitting eighth is your first baseman, Bobby Dalbec.
Yep. Actually, the
batting
Red Sox had their first spring training game today, so that's exciting.
Yeah, today in your area too. And then hitting ninth is your center fielder, Jackie Bradley Jr.
Yes, sir.
And now, while we move on, let's talk about our top five best and worst executives and top five skippers and starting and relief pitchers heading into the 2022 season. Let's start with our best and worst executives first. So, anyways, how I did this, I'll tell you. I did it from top five best and top five worst executives here, Ben. So my top five best executives are Andrew Friedman of the Dodgers, Farhan Zaidi of the Giants, John Mozeliak from the St. Louis Cardinals, Brian Cashman. You might not like him. I have him as my fourth best executive from the New York Yankees, and from the Washington Nationals, Mike Rizzo.
I mean, like, I didn't make a list for this. I mean, maybe for next year I'll have the executives. I could probably get you the what was the other thing? The relief pitchers.
Yeah, and then worst executives for me are Bill Schmidt, Mike Hazen, Billy Bean, Dayton Moore, and Al Avila. But now let's go to our top five relief starting pitchers heading into this season. For me, it's Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom, Garrett Cole, Corbin Burns, and rounding out my top five is Walker Buehler.
For starters, for
Yeah, for the starters. It could be anything from National and American League.
All right, Jacob deGrom, Bieber.
I might have snubbed Shane Bieber, but there's just a lot of good starters in this league.
Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, Max Fried, Max Scherzer.
Who do you have as 5? Who rounds out your top 5 for 5 starting pitchers?
I mean, I've named nothing more than 5. Probably Bueller.
Anyways, for my top 5 relief pitchers, one of my top 5 is Josh Hader, Aroldis Chapman, Liam Hendricks, Raciel Iglesias, and then Blake Trinan of the Dodgers. Blake Trinan has nasty stuff. I'll tell you that.
Me, I'll probably go with Aroldis Chapman, Hader. Amir Garrett is really good. Trying to think. Just for closers. Kimbrel. Kimbrel's usually really good. Kenley Jansen, I guess you could say is still.
He doesn't have the stuff that he once was. Could he stay a Dodger? I could see that, but he might not be a Dodger, but who knows?
I think the Red Sox had some interest in Kenley, so we'll see.
If you guys get him, you might enjoy having Kenley.
We'll see.
So, anyways, a little time for one head-to-head trivia question for you. So, the 2 questions for you is, who has the nickname of Shoeless?
I don't know, honestly.
The correct answer is Joe Jackson. And then thoughts, though it's called America's Pastime, the game of baseball actually originated in the Dominican Republic. Fact or fiction?
Fiction?
Yeah, you got that right. Anyways, now let's head to our final thoughts and announcements here. So our next show will be on, for This Week in Baseball, we are going to do it again on Saturday, March 19th, where myself and Ben, we're going to be ranking our top 5 catchers and first basemen. And we're also going to be talking about more news and notes around the baseball world. So you better get your popcorn ready for this, Ben. Are you excited for Saturday's show already?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And by then, we'll actually have some baseball that we can watch. So we obviously can start enjoying a sport that once was, for about a couple months, something many people didn't really get themselves into, but I'm happy baseball's back. I'm happy we can start enjoying the baseball that we really love. And let's have a fun year, shall we?
Yeah, let's have a fun year. And then our next show together, our next baseball show together will be on Saturday, March 19th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Be sure to join Ben and I for a new episode of This Week in Baseball. Then our next show together will be on Friday for Loro and Friends for Loro and Friends inside the NFL. Basically, on that show, we're going to be talking some football, some off-season news that we're going to be talking about what the Patriots have been doing this off-season, talk about some other signings that really stand out to us, Ben. And this whole NFL free agency has been off to a dazzling start.
Yeah, man, can't wait. Definitely a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so basically, Ben and I will be talking about what else the Patriots need to do. I mean, talking about guys that they got rid of and all that, and wish them all the best. So that's going to be on Friday's show, and then on Saturday's show on This Week in Baseball, that's when we'll kind of recap some of the games for the Dodgers and the Red Sox, and then rank our top 5 catchers and first basemen, and more news around baseball. Tune in then. For Ben Kurse, Loro signing off for now. Join us for a new episode of Loro and Friends on Friday, and then again This Week in Baseball on Saturday. Have a good night, everyone.